everyone, and welcome back to Exploring AWS. It's like 11:30 at night, and I'm still here studying, I'm still here reading, I'm still here recording videos for everybody, so if I seem a little bit delirious, I apologize. But wanted to get one last video out for the night. In this video, we're going to talk about AWS's CloudTrail. Now, AWS CloudTrail is a service that allows us to do a few different things. First of all, we can log, we can monitor, and we can actually alert. We can actually use other services like CloudWatch to alert on things. But essentially, we can log and we can monitor all different kinds of account activity throughout our AWS infrastructure. So, in simple terms, this basically provides us with a complete event history. So all of this leads us to the ability to have a history of everything that's happening within our AWS account. And this goes from, we'll say, from the management console all the way to whatever we might do in the CLI. So this is essentially monitoring, changes, new deployments, all different kinds of things is CloudTrail essentially monitoring, looking at, and logging all of those different events. And this not only allows us to do simple things, and when I say simple things, if you're, how many of you have ever been in an outage where, your first question is, hey, what's changed? Who did what? It was working 20 minutes ago and now it's not. Who changed something, right? In the middle of the day at 2:30, why did that go down? So not only can CloudTrail help us to do simple things like troubleshoot, right? Like actually try to figure out, hey, what changed, what happened? But this also provides us with a mechanism to detect things like unusual activity. So when you think about security events, when you think about, hey, I have this application or I have this server or I have this database or I have something in the cloud and all of a sudden it's no longer acting the way that it did yesterday. Not only do we want to troubleshoot that, not only do we want to take a look at why that might be, but we also want to make sure that we haven't been compromised. And so with CloudTrail, we can actually detect unusual activity and we can alert on it. And that's, I think, really, really a key point. The ability to alert, trying to clear the screen, the ability to alert on some of these events. Another thing we can do is we can detect a data leak, or data exfiltration is essentially what is the quote-unquote official term. But what we can do is we can actually collect the log activity on an S3 bucket. So we can collect, the transfers that are happening with our S3 buckets. And if we see that unusual activity, we can send those logs out to something like CloudWatch. So what I want you to do is remember the difference between CloudWatch and CloudTrail. So CloudTrail is essentially monitoring and logging. CloudWatch is what's going to allow us to maybe use like a Lambda function, for example. So we'll say Lambda. I actually don't remember if that has a B, but we'll just go with the spelling for now. So we can actually use CloudWatch and Lambda to actually trigger an automated security response. And I really think that this is big, that you guys should pay attention to this, because if you're putting things in the cloud, you essentially want to make sure that you're monitoring event changes, you're monitoring log changes, you're monitoring what's happening in your cloud deployment. And if something does happen, if all of a sudden things are no longer acting as they should, you have some idea why. You can go to CloudTrail and you can kind of understand, hey, here's this log of events. Now, how does this work? So essentially what you do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to enable CloudTrail within your deployment. So that's the first thing that you do. And then what this does is this essentially allows you to capture, again, log and monitor all of those events that are happening within your infrastructure. But you need a place for them to be. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to store these in an S3 store. So now when you enable CloudTrail, you're going to have these different capture events that happen. You're going to log all this kind of stuff, and you're going to store it in S3. Now what you want to do is you want to use something like CloudWatch to essentially see those events, and you want to use CloudWatch to essentially alarm on those events and actually perform some kind of an action, right? So this is essentially how this works. So if you're going to go and enable this, we're not going to do this now. Again, it's like midnight for me. But what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and create an S3 bucket, and you're going to go ahead and enable CloudWatch, and CloudTrail. And when you do that, CloudTrail is what's going to essentially give you the ability to monitor your events. CloudWatch is what's going to give you the ability to essentially start triggering some of those events, alarming on some of those events. And then again, like I said, you can go use Lambda functions to, trigger different automated responses, right? Maybe you want to go, kill some services or power down servers. I mean, that's probably a little bit extreme, but you get the idea, right? So here's what CloudTrail and CloudWatch can essentially do for you.